Hello, Pisces. We are here to do your July 2020 read. It's going to cover the aspects of the astrology as well as psychic energy, and I have pulled cards that are ruined for you. Now, I do have your romance house here, so rest assured you're going to get the tune on that level. And any psychic download I'll give you, I'll put your crowning energy, money, career, tribe and family, how the eclipse is going to affect you, and how the new moon will. Now, we are going to have Neptune retrograding in Pisces, which is your first house placement. So with that frequency, you may be feeling it hitting your natal. So when it comes to delusions, illusions, and things to that degree, there can be things coming up that may be testing you spiritually. Now, it's interesting because this ruin actually does directly link in with the frequency of earth and air. It's also astrologically linked to Virgo, so I will check where your Virgo placement is. Let's have a look. Oh, relationship sector. Okay, which does make sense because there's two spots there. With this, what you've got to understand is you need to have faith in it, but something inside you is changing, and some of the assessments and situations that you had going on, you may be looking at it from the point of view and feeling a little bit disillusioned. The thing is, it's almost like you're asking universe to directly connect in with you and support you and help you through this process. Now, Venus will be going direct, and it is your fourth house. Fourth house is very much connecting to home, psychology, and there can be things to do with your home coming up. Now, I was recording this private, but you guys get to get the cameo early, so we are dealing with Mercury retrograde, for goodness sake, so let's just work with it, right? The rest of them will be launched at 11. I may open them earlier once I've edited them, but nevertheless, and I was going to come to you guys after and do twin flame, but we're here to do Pisces. So for all of us collectively, we are going to have Neptune retrograde in Pisces, which is first house. Now, this connects to Swan, right? Connects to Swan at an esoteric level. It's mystical communication with the divine, spirit absorption of protective energies, faith in the divine, protection, sanctuary, prayer, friendship, and trust, which is more a process. So Neptune is very much dreams, innovation. In retrograde, the reflection of such. Is it based on reality? Is it delusional? How am I looking at this energy? Sometimes the power directly is outside of us and it's not within our control. So we need to come back in and ask source and connect with universe. Now, we're also having Saturn transit from Aquarius back into Capricorn, which we do have a lot of placements. And for you guys, that is connected to your 11th house. At the moment, we have Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, Jupiter retrograde in Capricorn, and it is linking in with your 11th house placement. Now, you may have found when it was in Aquarius, you might have been psychoanalyzing things. You might have been seeing the deeper spiritual reasons why everything was happening, both in a growth sense and in a level up sense of what you need to do. Now, some of you may not have been handling that energy very well, and that is because it is the 12th house placement. So if at the moment you are moving back into the frequency of 11th house, it's your connections, it's your friendship groups, it's your hopes and dreams, and Neptune is asking you to look at that and what you directly are doing for that to transform. What is within your power to help those hopes and dreams transform? Now, 12th house placement, I hope this internet works because we are moving into Mercury retrograde, so bear with me. Crown chakra be messing with it. With the 12th house placement, any client I've had that's had that, if they have the spiritual tools, they directly can operate with it and handle it. But 12th house can be extremely heavy. We are having Neptune retrograding till the end of the year. We're also having Mars enter Aries, and we're also having Chiron retrograde, and that's July the 11th. So there is heavy Aries placement. There can be agitation during the month and anger. Also, because Mercury relates to transport, you'll also find you really need to pay close attention. There can also be a lot of family-related dynamics that come up. You do have a lot of 5th house placements going on here between the Cancer-Capricorn axis. And, a lot of what you may have been doing is looking at your hopes and dreams, looking at your friendship groups, and if that even resonates, do you have that support group around you? What are your hopes and dreams? Is it directly relevant? And having to really focus on that, even though energetically you may have been moving towards the comfort zone of the 5th house placement of family, relationships, and children. And it's not that you're letting that go, it's that it doesn't completely define the path, but by moving towards your hopes and dreams, that 5th house placement balances out. Now, this month is a very karmic month in a sense that you're going to have an opportunity to turn over that new leaf. And if we don't, we then have a 6-month interval till December with many retrogrades till that point to correct that axis, on top of the fact that we're going to have the frequency of Sagittarius and Gemini. So for you guys at a spiritual level over the next 2.5 years, let me look. Where are we at? Pisces. 10th house, your career sector and your home domain. If your career sector will be transforming, but it won't be left behind. As I mentioned, we do have it can be to do with your belief systems, your paradigms, your conditioning. It can be religious gurus. Something in that is transforming, but directly connected to what's going on now. I'm going to try and be very careful with the way I articulate this, but home-related dynamics really going to be calling you. But by focusing on that frequency of home, psychology, domestic energies, and with Saturn moving into your 12th house of psychology, spirituality, it's an interesting placement. And the reason I say it is if you're at a high frequency, you can deal with the adversity, but you are in the mind seeing something and using your past experience to bring it full 360. So you can utilize that. But if it's overwhelming energy, and Gemini is an overwhelm of energy, it can be hearsay, it can be very social, it can be too much information, technology, because Mercury is very fast. The 12th house, again, can link to psychology. You need to have your mind right. So if the last 2 months you've found mind energy for Pisces has been very difficult, it is because Saturn has been in your 12th house placement. Now, we will have Jupiter join that energy in January. So, really dealing with that very leveling up frequency of the 11th house and 5th house placement of your social life, moving towards that and correcting things, correcting the course in a sense of who your friendship groups are, what are you doing in a sense of self-esteem based on your hobbies, how can we bring the group together, what are our common interests, things like that are really going to resonate. If you are too fixated on just what's happening over here, connecting in with romance, birth, and energies as such, both will not balance, and it can be very calm coming through this month. So 5th house will come up here, which is romance, birth, children, and luck. And a new opportunity by the 20th with the blue moon, which is a new moon in Cancer, will be coming up. That's an opportunity to turn over the new leaf. And very much linking in with your social energies of the 11th house, friends, clubs, associates, aspirations during the eclipse on the 5th, which will be very heavy. Let's get into the cards. So, okay, divinely guided in any sense, whatever is coming through this month. Past position, again, you might have been feeling that, situations around you, you are needing to be strict with to have that transformation. Other people may have been projecting this energy towards you and you embodied that, and you're looking at it very critically. Again, with the vibration of 7, you might be focusing more on love. And this directly does come down to actually attracting in connections that are very much like-minded. Some of you are coming to terms with old cycles ending, and that there may be a spiritual value system of fair-based frequency coming up. And I'll pull a clarify because you have the death card moving forward. Some of you, it's more so from a spiritual level. You're seeing what you need to finalise, what you need to let go of, and what doesn't resonate with you. That doesn't necessarily have to be a bad situation. Yeah, it's a part of a journey and a cycle is ending. And I do feel some of you may be finishing paperwork, finalising document, trying to bring things full 360. And a lot of the way you see things, you do realise that, yes, you can gain tools from the past. And if you have levelled up and you've been working extremely hard, you will be reaping the rewards for your efforts. And the journey energy with the horse is looking and waiting for this energy to return in a very healthy format. You're also going to be very strict with yourself in a sense that if people aren't working with you, you won't be working with them, because directly at a spiritual level, you feel it takes you back to a similar vibration and you've outgrown it. Now, in your money sector, this has been coming up a lot, and I'm going to look at Sagittarius. Okay. Some ways in which with the nodes and Sagittarius, you may need to change the way in which you're operating. It may have been due to lockdown energy. You might also be tuning in very psychically as to, with that, of what has occurred in the collective and how these transformations are coming. What would you need to do in a sense of this cycle ending and taking your energy into the new? This can be looking at ways you're dealing with your money in a very new format. It also can be where you're actually looking at your bank accounts and things to that degree and changing things up, because who you are and how you use your money isn't the same anymore. So I do feel you're using your Pluto and Capricorn energy and looking at that moving into the month and casting a very critical eye on your finances and really tying up those loose ends and potentially looking at new ways you can actually generate income and operate with your income. I do feel some of you are tying up bills though and completing them to directly free yourself. Now, in your career sector, makes sense because the nodes are in Sagittarius in your 10th house. Try not to feel guilty if you feel some situations haven't been successful. You do tend to find with the placement of Jupiter in the 10th house, at the moment, because the nodes are there, you're reflecting over it. Jupiter currently is retrograde. It can be deeply frustrating. And career orientation in that energy is very accountable. So it takes on a level where we may have needed to be codependent on government due to the Capricorn placement. But whatever you've done, if you're feeling like, wow, you know, I should have seen that coming, or maybe I need to change the way I'm doing something, there can be frustration relating to that. Try and trust in the process, because a lot of times things take us to a place for a direct reason. Yeah. There can be places where, for those of you that are working, maybe you're not seeing eye to eye with individuals. Yeah, I just feel it's almost like for some of you, you're not resonating with where you currently are, if you still currently are working. Also, maybe you're sensing this chapter in this connection is over. I do feel two positions. So if you're only just starting to apply for jobs and you haven't been working, I do feel there is a situation here that you may move towards something brand new. Some of you may be very nervous about resumes and applications and what bosses will say, but I do feel a new situation will be coming in. But whatever this is, if you're going to be doing something very new. I do feel three new energies. For those of you working in big companies, there feels there's three brand new people coming to the position. There will be a lot of changes, but they are going to be more connected to the new energy we're moving into, which would be very technology orientated. So I feel anything that doesn't resonate with that energy, hi Dale, you sort of need to be open to this new. That's what it's showing me. Some people will actually be leaving particular positions, which will actually open up new opportunities for you. A lot of people that have had the art of appreciation, they've done the soul work during hermit mode. When you're returning, some of those opportunities that weren't there for you before are actually going to become more available because of fair-based frequency. Some energies, hi beautiful, are going to actually be leaving it. So whoever's going is actually making room for this new position for you. Okay, tribe. What's going on with tribe? There can be a person around you that is reacting very selfishly this month and maybe way too focused on finances. Now, at a very spiritual level, how do I place it? Yeah. You've really changed the way you look at things. This person can be older, but very, very focused. I see your energy almost communicating with this person, and this person is somebody you know quite well. You may not have been mixing with them all that much. Now, this may be in a social setting. It could be meeting via Skype or Messenger, but I'm seeing a conversation play out. It's someone you've known for a long time. You may have looked up to them, but they're really struggling at the moment, and their frequency isn't their normal vibration. The way they're coming through is a little bit anxious. And I feel you're looking at them in a new light. You're going to laugh when you see this. Okay, so this person's coming across maybe a little bit selfish, and you're going, what the heck are you talking about? Now, they're mature, okay? They're older. They are older than you. And you're kind of looking at them like, really? You have really changed. So there can be a lot of friendships that go by the wayside, and it is a split in the collective. It's usually because that Sagittarius nodal axis is showing the divide between the awoken and, the people that are awakening. And that takes time. So sometimes we do move away from particular people, and then as we've transformed, we directly have resonance. We've got something in common. We can directly relate with each other. Try not to take this energy personal. If this person does need to go, it's not that you don't care for them or that you find that they're disrespectful. It's just about growing that cycle, and your journey is going in a different direction. And they do have quite a bit going on. Yeah, it's like, look, they are coming back. It's just, you just like looking at them going, oh, wow, okay. Both of you have different paths at the moment. They're going through a hard time, but just let it be. Now, with your family, you have the Knight of Coins in reverse, and this is for the entirety of the month. Okay. And look, a lot of cards this month with readings are coming up with a lot of jealousy and ego. And during the eclipse, we have Sun and Moon energy. Sun can be ego. Aries and Chiron retrograde, again, if we're purging and we're trying to heal, it can very much be our belief systems. Neptune retrograde, our falsities we've been basing things on. So there can be a little bit of healing going on with ego, and that's not a bad thing. It's more, we might be looking at things from a different perspective. They're just a value system, really. Whatever this energy is, they do mean it from the love of their heart. They just hurt people, right? So they actually don't know what they're saying. It's coming across as judgment, and they're kind of telling you should be doing something, but it's almost like a mirror energy, okay? So what they're saying to you is what they're lacking in. They don't know this, though. So they're not trying to be your enemy. They're not trying to be shady. They're just, it can come across as judgment. Overall, it's coming from a place of love, but it's because they haven't done the spiritual work. Now, some of these people may be soul parents, and this is an energy I'm seeing, or it might have been they lost a parent from a very young age, so their perspective was very different, or they had to move away when they were married. But there's some sense of a belief system they're coming from. It can be very, very old school and maybe a little bit judgmental, but they purely are coming from a place of love. It's just a different way of showing it. Okay, now the Capricorn eclipse for you guys is hitting your 11th house, which is still saying the same thing. Some of your friends you're actually moving away from, right? You're not, it's sad, it's bittersweet. It can be a hobby that you had, suddenly you just don't resonate with it. A goal that you had in mind with Neptune retrograde, and suddenly you're like, why, I don't resonate with this. You're leaving something behind. You don't feel you resonate with this. This can be people, places, and things, and I wouldn't be surprised if it directly relates to the 5th house placement. I do feel they're kind of interlinking and overlapping this month. So with a belief system to do with childhood, with wanting children, with something going on with the child, Also connecting to your luck, something about that, and family you're letting go of. You're wanting a brand new start. You're looking at this with young eyes. Not quite sure where you're going, but you're willing to do the work on it. Okay, you're willing to work towards new situations. Some of you are picking up new hobbies. Some of you are learning a new trade. I'm also feeling, how do I place it? I'm seeing some of you actually the art of appreciation energy, where the time frame that you've spent at home or doing different things, I do feel you've actually tapped into some hobbies or actually had more regret to do with the way in which you've been handling your time. And I'm seeing a lot of people actually utilize their time in a healthier format, where you're wanting to apply yourself to have the work-life balance, where you either appreciate jobs more or you appreciate a balance between the two, and you're looking at life differently. I do feel this is a very, very positive transit for this perspective. So some of you are actually almost more motivated and excited to get that new frequency coming through, but it can be a heavy month nevertheless. Now, there can be some stress around family and children and even connections in general. Even though it is a new moon in Cancer on the 20th, we do have a squaring aspect between Neptune and Venus in Gemini on the 27th. There's also a lot of squaring aspects with Mars. So really, you're guided to be very cautious about your throat chakra. You know, I may use gaffer tape for myself. I mean, I'm usually, being a Libra, very cautious to do the way I say things, but you know, the possibility is there. So we do need to be mindful of that. It's not that you have complete control over it, but there is a possibility, and you know, needing to be brave to move forward. And I feel you're cutting to the chase on conversations. You may be calling people out, being quite frank, maybe actually having to be brave to address some of these triggers that we have inside ourselves and flaws that we all have inside ourselves. But you're wanting to turn over a new leaf and actually understand another person's perspective. I'm telling you, family. Oh, isn't this going to be a joyous month? Hi, honey, I'm home. Okay, romance sector for Pisces. Self-worth energy, wanting to manifest something and being highly ambitious. You do have this energy being spawned, so this can be connected to a very spiritual connection. Now, you may have felt that in the past you had to do the zigzag. I'll just say. You may have had to change directions and change your approach with things. You're not quite sure where that was going, but where it's brought you to is accepting the present moment. Something is going to go down this month to help you see that some of these hopes and dreams, and I feel it's just as you've let go. Surprisingly so, the focus and the shift of what's coming up, it's almost like you're not looking for it and the balance comes in. In your heart, you're feeling lost and down, and this is the disconnect, this is the egoic purge, and bang. Love it when it shows up. Love a girl. Isn't that all like, look, your foundation that you're based on at the moment is the star. It is very positive. Their energy coming in, they're looking at you like they, and again, when we all see the four of wands, I always think, twin flame soulmate. This is what they're tuning into. You may be shifting and looking at your career and going, oh, I'm just going to take my energy over here. If you're in a connection, both of you are focused on separate energies but have the interconnection regardless. There may have been habits, triggers, excess, overwork, tension, chemistry in the past. They did feel stuck, but where they're at is they're really wanting to build with you. They're wanting to bring this offering. It may feel ever so slight. It's a brand new beginning and it's a fresh start nevertheless. They've had a lot of time to sit in their own thoughts and with their meditations as to where they're going. They've had a look at their foundation, they've assessed that frequency, and they have really had to recoup. So if there has been some delay in this movement and transformation, be it you're together or you're not, it has been due to the fact that this person at a very spiritual level has needed to recoup after a lot of adversity. And it is separate to you. It's at a very psychological level. It's funny because we talked about the fives this morning. And, whenever you're saying 5555, I just cringe because I went through the fives in 2012. Hi, beautiful. And I do know that 2021 is, I went through the fives in 2012. Hi, beautiful. And I do know that 2021 is a vibration 5, and I'm thinking, oh God, what are we in for? Fives are huge changes. The way your life will be, and when I dealt with the number of energies, it usually took about 2.5 years, which I think is hilarious because that's about the nodal energy. So anything you're wanting to change and transform, the work you directly put in that, the spiritual transformation you have, it's a bit like you're turned inside out and then back again. And the person you become is just, so you need a little bit of time to gain your bearings in the 5 energies. It's not fun. You feel like you're being dragged through the bush backwards. And yes, you may have at a spiritual point maybe felt that was deservingly so, but then when it happens to us, we're like, heck, that's horrible. This is going to be a time where both of you can rebuild and move away from that very, very heavy ascension energy. And I do feel male energies at the moment moving, into this month. It's really hitting them hard on the axis because we do have Jupiter retrograde, which links into masculines, and we also are going to be having Chiron in Aries retrograde, which is going to kind of trigger them to look at where they've been putting their energy into, what they've been fighting towards. And with Neptune retrograde, it's going to show them whether it's in alignment or not. So it's very healthy that these placements are coming through. That was a mouthful. Any questions? The big reveal this month is you do get a mid-month check-in of Twin Flame Soulmate energy. And I'm also doing a karmic reading, which at this stage, it will be either the 2nd or the 3rd it's launched, but I'll put a community tab up because I've got 2 more to record. And it's based on their zodiac sign. So if you're wanting to check in with the karmic energy, it doesn't even have to be a karmic partner. They may have been separated. It could be external influences. It could be a person, an ex, whoever is holding that karmic vibration. It can even be for people that aren't handling the astrology, but you would need to disregard the romance aspect of the reading because it bases the frequency on the astrology and the placements of the cards and how they're relating to the current transit for July. So that will be launched in a couple of days. I'll put it on Premiere, so you won't really need me to tell you. It'll just be up and ready. And if you are wanting a private booking, you can go to the link. So you're going to get about 36 videos this month. Any questions in the house? Before I fall flat on my face after 36 videos. So if you've been wondering where I've been burning that midnight oil. Just in case the feed has stagnated. And I don't enjoy Mercury retrograde, I'm telling you. It's not fun. No questions in the house. We're all quiet. Going once, going twice. We'll see how the day goes. If I have 5, I may come back and do an update. I have a lovely lady where they were crosswise with due to Mercury energy and shadow. I'm doing her reading tonight. I have to say how deeply flawed and I was baffled to read those videos, guys. Wow. No words. Okay, at a psychological level, I was like, this is full on. I mean, if you ever question, you've done work on yourselves from a logical point of view, I can actually see how hard that must be. You'll understand when you listen to them. If you see my face, like, it's to comprehend that aspect of mindset. I needed to flush those energies after, I must say. That was a whole lot of energy. I can't even explain. It's not boding well, though, I will say that. So, but yeah, food for thought on that energy frequency. And if you do actually like them, give me a heads up before the end of the month, and I may continue them on. But if they're not popular, it was more to see how this major transit is going to affect them. You know, and how the different energies between, and look, we may fall into that energy slightly when we're triggered because we're human. But at the same time, you can look at it if a mother, sister, brother, uncle, look at the first part of how they deal with the adversity, so to speak, what can be coming up in a sense of things connected to their zodiac. But as for be it your with the soulmate / twin flame, and there's an external energy, or it's an ex, or they're with the karmic, I can say not many of them appear to be by the vibration. And if that's just happening first at an internal level, it's pretty darn close. It's not looking pretty. I'm ready to just say, breathe. It's Neptune retrograde. Like I said, it's almost like the universe is laughing at us. It's like, oh, you thought you had your life planned now. Now, look at Venus. Venus is marriages, contracts, partnerships. I was laughing at myself the other day that I didn't visually see this. Gemini, Venus in Gemini. Gemini is social. Gemini is the day-to-day movement and routine. It's Mercury, it's communication. Just as we've had the shadow energy of that, we had how many weeks ago? I was going, that was hectic. So you're moving through that energy, then it drops down into almost Black Moon Lilith energy because it's Scorpionic, which is funny because my Venus house is Scorpio. And I was like, heck, what's this heavy energy? And I went shadow, and it was very dark. And I mean, we're going to experience that with Neptune. So you do tend to find psychic attacks and things to that degree are higher. Distortion of energy. It's 12th house. Now, if you don't have a healthy mind and your 12th house is there, you're bringing the dark in. You don't want to be tuning into those energies. You need to cleanse your energy. So I was so surprised I didn't see this, and I thought, whoa, hang on a minute, what exactly is going on? We're having Venus going direct and the Neptunes are going retrograde. So we're like, yeah, we understand what's happening. We've seen the good, the bad, the ugly of Venus retrograde. Now, Venus retrograde in Gemini, we may have been looking at what are the niceties in that connection. Are we socializing? Do we have things in common? What is your communication like with me? Are you communicating? Are you ghosting me? What were the previous communications? How do I look at those things now? Where is this going? What are the small steps you're taking to make a change? But it's also within our own lives because it's from our own very personal perspective. So as soon as we've culminated that energy and gone, wow, that was fun, wasn't it? We're having Neptune going retrograde to show us some of the delusional dreams. I thought, universe, you really want to make sure that we get this right going forward. Now, with the Cancer Capricorn axis, anything that comes up, look at it. When that's finalised, you have 6 months to complete that task, and it's very important you look at those energies. For Pisces, because it's the 11th house and the 5th house placement, if those ends aren't tied up and levelling new frequency isn't brought into those situations and can't be, you need to drop the dead wood. You need to be in alignment with tribe orientation frequency, alignment energy of financial domains by the end of the year. Because it will be extremely karmic at the end of the year. Should money and connections and vibrations that we need to be aligning with, if we're doing that mess up there, it's going to be horrible. So I strongly advise any things that come up for you guys around now, it's no auto time, it's D-Day. You really need to be looking at that frequency. And you energetically won't have the patience to be mucking with situations. People will catch up. but you need to be very focused on your affairs of what needs to be addressed and try not to get blocked. Also, try not to enable a person. If you are having a belief system connected to a romantic partner, write down what that is and then stop and look at how it resonates with you. The coaching I do with twin flames will always show that a belief system you hold, there is something happening on your side of the fence that will almost make a complete mirror. You're angry at that because you're not saying it's occurring inside you as well. And once you purge that and you let that go, situations move. Oh, trust me. As my sister said, haha, you try to keep away on the Cancer eclipse and everything come to you. And I was like, yeah, I know. I tried to stay home. It came to my door. Anywho, another energy I need to say, 8th house. Okay, Juno in your 8th house. Juno is in Libra till October. It is very important to align yourselves with healthy codependency. So for Pisces, Juno is a feminine energy. It's also from, what you spend your money on. If it's to build and if it's going to generate cash back to you, if there's give and take reciprocal energy. So, if you're going into a connection, seeing that it's give and take, it's going to be very important. It's also the house of shared resources. So some people may be asking you for loans. You need to check that. Is it a give and take situation? If it's not, Juno and Libra can cause dramas. So just be careful. For what, Dal? Juno and Libra. Juno is in Libra, but for each zodiac sign, it will be different. So because the placement is in the 8th house, which is Pluto, Libra is justice and balance, but it's also luxuries, marriages, contracts, partnerships, whoever you choose to mix with. We had the retrograde effect. So for Pisces, especially since you got the swan energy, if you can see any person, even TF, if they're working with you, you work with them. Now, anything that's always yours is going to come back, but it's about actually holding a self-worth vibration, and the laws of attraction are, it brings it back to you. But if you are in the vibration of giving, but it not being reciprocal, you're not allowing that person to transform. So some of you, it's not to say that when energies return, that you can't get that balance back with the connection. And it's not for us to say, look, you're going to come back bloody perfect. It's not. But it's also to see the intent of the vibration of the person willing to build with you. That's different. Oldest son is a Pisces, been struggling, and I see, yeah. But we can't help the person get there. We can, a lot of younger energies are, but, the Pisces energy, it may settle down moving into the next few days. The reason at a psychological level it would have been hard is because Saturn was in Aquarius, which is their 12th house. So groups, connections, social anxiety can come up because it's wider group energy. But at the same time, the psychology surrounding it. So he's got pretty much from now till the end of the year to look at that and key point what it is before we go into that at a 2.5-year transit. So if he's understanding of the reality of what these things are, that it's important to have healthy energies around you, we're going to have both Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, which is wider group energy, global, potential more travel because it's global, whereas Gemini is local, Jupiter is long distance. So in that position, there is a potential, yes, around 2021, there can be more movement. Initially, I feel the travel will be more local in the proximity of country, not continent. Not to say there won't be, but yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. But it's making closure with things. Mercury in Cancer's 5th house. It can link into children. At birth as well. Like, as for birth, who is the new version of who he was? Fifth house placement. And who is he now? Sometimes we take choices based on past tense situations over current tense situations. And it's because of nostalgia and healing. So at a soul growth level, we need to be taking it from today. Where are we today? How do we feel today? Not what it could be, not what it was. What is it right now where we stand, and are we delaying making an inevitable decision? A food for thought. Hi, Dale. How are you? How are we all doing? I tell ya. Anywho, I better leave it at this because it's already at 40 minutes and people will be saying, how come that one got 40 minutes and I've got one more video to upload and then I can put them on Premiere? Yes, the Cancer one's uploading. That was interesting. You guys are going to have an interesting month. Get your crystals out, Cancerians. Hold your sanity. Hold your sanity. I'm Cancer Moon. I'm like, oh, heck. But yes, I have done that one and it is interesting. Your connection, Cancer, is the axis point is, you know, romance. Romance. Pick. You guys will be cutting out who doesn't resonate with you. If people are messing with you, no time. Marriages, contracts, partnerships, no deal. No deal. Not today, Satan. Love and light. If you want a booking, the link is below. As for the Premiere, I shall put them up and you'll know the time frames they're opening. I'm going to go back to my editing and uploading. Jupiter and Aquarius. People won't be single for long. When that moves, there'll be a lot more births in 2021. There'll be a lot more group-orientated situations going. Anywho, I love you all. Thank you for joining. I thought I'd put it private and clearly I didn't. I probably haven't somehow, you know, Mercury retrograde helped you guys sneak in the door. I enjoyed the company anyway. That's okay. I'll see you guys soon. Most welcome. It won't let me go now. I'll be here for 20 minutes trying to turn it off.